What's going on, guys? T-Mart here, and today I've got some more information I want to talk about with you guys regarding Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, the next Call of Duty game. So as you guys know, Game Informer came out with a ton of information over the past couple of days, and this is the last video I wanted to make for you guys, kind of summarizing all of that together. And this one is primarily focusing on the single player. So they recently put out an article as well as a video interview with Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield, the studio heads for Sledgehammer. And I know single player may not interest all of you guys, but I've always enjoyed it. I think most people enjoy it. And it kind of seems like this year they're placing a pretty heavy emphasis on improving it, on improving that single player. So I mean, if you're a fan of the campaign, it sounds like we're going to be in for a pretty big treat this year. So if you guys don't know, for the first time in a while, the story is based around one single guy. There's one protagonist, and that's it. You know, it's not a group of guys. It doesn't flip a bunch of perspectives in different areas of the world and things like that. It's all about one guy's story over the course of like 6 to 10 years or something like that. And this guy is Private Mitchell, and he's a U.S. Marine, a new U.S. Marine that they said has an intentionally kind of generic background. Like they tell about his whole backstory, but it's pretty generic. Like he's like your average guy, and they wanted to do that because they wanted to make him more relatable. Like, you know, any of us could be this guy, you know, put in this type of situation. And they said it's not just about the big and bold moments that you're used to in Call of Duty, you know, all the explosions and the crashes and the craziness and things like that. But it's more about the emotional moments. Like they don't want it to just be like this military story with a bunch of craziness going on. They want to have it, you know, be that mixed with, you know, being about like family and camaraderie and pain and loss and things like that, and just have it be a little bit more emotional. And they said you'll actually never hear him speak outside of the cutscenes. You know, they don't want to take you out of the game. They want you to feel like you are actually Private Mitchell when you're playing, so you won't hear him talk during the game, only during the cutscenes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, another kind of improvement or, you know, difference that they're making to this campaign is there's no more what they call disembodied voices talking over maps before every single player mission. You guys know how in the single players of most Call of Duties, it's like this, you know, kind of like narrative voice that's talking about what's going on, and then it's also saying what the objective is, where you're going, what you have to do, and it gives you all this information all at once. They're not doing that this year. They felt like it was a little bit too much. They thought it took you out of the game when it's giving you all this information, then just dumping you into the single player. So what they've done is now this year, in between like the missions where you're actually playing, there are fully rendered CGI cutscenes that, you know, it's more of like an actual single player game that you'll play in like Infamous or something like that. Like it actually tells the story. It focuses more on the storyline, the protagonist, rather than all of that, you know, kind of not need to know right then information. They said that that information regarding objectives and what you need to do is going to be fed to you in kind of a more kind of hidden, camouflaged way throughout the actual gameplay, and they'll give it to you when you actually need it. So it's going to make it feel more of like, you know, your average single player focused game. It's going to be more of like a movie, more of a cinematic experience than what it has been in the past. So that sounds kind of cool. Like, I'm excited about that. They also said, you know, on some little things, they're hoping to improve some of the pacing. You guys know Call of Duty is known for its like super high action, explosive, crashy moments, and they want to include those, but then also have, you know, other slower, tension-filled moments in between them to send you on more of that emotional roller coaster. So that's obviously going to be a good thing. Also, they said they're working on ways to remove the follow icon that COD single player is kind of known for. You guys know that like big dot with the yellow follow letters above it and things like that. It's just kind of like obtrusive and completely, you know, doesn't mix in with what's going on. They're trying to find ways to remove that and make everything a little bit more intuitive and again, make it more of like a movie-esque experience. So yeah, there you guys have it. That's what we know so far about the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare campaign. It really sounds like Sledgehammer is trying to make this like one of the most polished, best Call of Duties of all time. I mean, they're obviously working very hard on multiplayer. They're also putting a heavy emphasis on improving the single player. They're coming out with a co-op mode that we discussed in yesterday's video. Like, this thing sounds like it's going to be a very, very good game, and I cannot wait till we get more information. Now, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is a pretty cool quote from the two of them in that video interview that just kind of talked about this whole project as a whole, you know, Advanced Warfare as a whole. So they said, we've gone through the entire game, even through the HUD, the front end, everything like that. We are trying to innovate and change. You know, we want to change it up as much as possible, but at the same time, people will still be able to say, yeah, it's Call of Duty. We know there are millions of people that play it and don't want a completely different game. They just want Call of Duty, but better, different, and innovated. This is Call of Duty from the spirit of everything that you've loved about it, but this is a different Call of Duty, and we think that's going to be pretty fun for the fans. So there you guys have it. That is their goal. Like, they want it to be Call of Duty, but they want it to be different. And hopefully they are able to deliver. This is stuff that that people have been asking for forever. You know, all the Call of Duty naysayers, all the haters, all that kind of stuff that say, oh, it's the same thing every year except reskinned. I think they're totally crazy. I think we've seen a lot of improvements over the past few years, but it looks like this game here, the first game developed for next-gen consoles, the first game for Sledgehammer, and the first one with a 3-year life cycle is going to be the one that that really kind of blows them out of the water and you know, brings us the biggest change that we've seen to date. So I don't know, I'm pretty excited. I cannot wait until we get more about this game. I'm sure there will be new stuff coming out over the coming weeks. Hopefully we can get another gameplay trailer here soon, and maybe we'll be able to see multiplayer sometime within the next couple of months. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Check out one of the other two videos you've seen yet. Peace out, guys.